If summer heat and activity left your lawn with bare patches and thin spots, then get Stugotz Turf Builder Grass Seed. Fall's cool air and warm soil make it the best time to grow grass. Use Turf Builder Grass Seed to grow thicker, greener grass, guaranteed. It contains Stugotz exclusive Water Smart Plus coating that absorbs 2 times more water than uncoated seeds. Feeds to jumpstart growth and protect seedlings against disease. And Stugotz is the official lawn care company of Major League Baseball. Fall's the best time to grow seed and repair your yard. Pick up a bag of Stugotz Turf Builder Grass Seed today. This is the Stugotz Yard.
It's time for some straight talk. The big wireless companies charge a boatload for their superior network coverage. But guess what? Straight Talk uses the same cell towers but charges a lot less. Who knew? Well, now you do. And I do. So let's do something. It's time to switch to Straight Talk. Unlimited plans start as low as $35 a month on America's largest, most dependable networks. Straight Talk Wireless. Only at Walmart.
Savings may vary. A month equals 30 days. Please refer always to the latest terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
I'm Adnan Verkin for Greeny today. Great to have you with us on Mike and Mike, alongside the big fella, Mike Golick. We're on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We're presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our phone guests in the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Eduardo Perez is going to join us an hour and a half from now, 9:30 a.m. Eastern, to talk about that wild game last night as the Nationals lose the Cubs. You now got the Cubs and Dodgers in the LCS. And Stugotz, of course, our friend from the Dan Le Batard Show, is going to join us momentarily. But just explain this mystery Oreo debate.
Yeah, the wife and I were shopping yesterday at the grocery store, and her field-producing senses started tingling when she saw a bag of Oreo cookies that said mystery flavor. Mm-hmm. And we looked on it and said mystery flavor. If you guess the flavor, you win $50,000. So we bought a bag, and I brought it in, and we had everybody try them to try and get a consensus on what we think the flavor is, and we're going to submit one and then split the $50,000 if we win it. So we had a bunch of people taste it, and we believe – I'm not saying not saying what our answer is going to be.
Yeah, we don't want to give it away to anybody because they can win the $50,000. That's
exactly right. We've given I've told people a lot of what we thought it would be, but we think we've narrowed it down to our choice. We feel pretty good about it. So we're looking forward to see if we can cash in. But it's pretty cool. And my fear was that it was going to taste like kale or broccoli. But thankfully, Oreo didn't do that to us.
All right.
And they made it a good taste and a good flavor.
And I'm going to say, I'm going to commend this entire crew. The amount of foodies we have here on staff when it comes to cookies.
And they're breaking down the flavor of a cookie was pretty
Travis
impressive.
Is excellent when it comes to a cookie.
Excellent job by everybody in here.
It's also Friday the 13th, so we had a list of scary movies. My friend Chris Martin's calling in. Whatever Happened to Baby Jane, The Omen. Rosemary's Baby is a great scary movie.
Yep.
You know, Mothers in theaters, it's a terrible movie, but some people said it reminded them of Rosemary's Baby. Rosemary's Baby is much scarier. Clockwork Orange is a great one.
That's a freaky one.
Terrifying with the eyes. It's just Silence of the Lambs is very scary.
Oh, that is.
Fava Beans and a nice Chianti.
Yeah, that is, again, another one where you may have some kind of whack job out there that would be like that. By the way, I hated Mother.
Awful movie.
I hate it, and I love Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
Love her, but I hated that movie.
First hour, hold your attention, psychological suspense, and wondering what's going on here in relation to Javier Bardem. By the final 30 minutes, it is so ludicrous and so absurd and so over the top.
Ridiculous.
Did you know what the
No, I didn't.
Neither did I.
And Jennifer Lawrence had said she wishes people would know what the premise was. Her boyfriend director does not.
Yeah.
He doesn't want them. Even if I knew what it was,
yes,
that would have helped me a little bit. I still would have hated the movie. How that thing was ending was just ridiculous.
Bang on. If I knew what it was, at least it would clarify for me. I wouldn't be confused.
Right. And I was hanging on, just thinking, okay, I'm sitting through all this. It was me, Mike, and my wife, and we're watching it, and we're just all like, okay, this better have a great ending.
Yes.
Because right now, it is just dragging.
Now it's just dragging. It was holding your attention. Think, okay, when are we getting to this stuff?
And then it just, the payoff was not there.
It was just so self-indulgent and pompous, and a real disappointment at the box office. And I'm like, well, you think?
You think? Yeah. That's one word of mouth ain't getting people there.
There's something called Cinema Score, which is a ranking between guys like you and me. If we watched the trailer and then you saw the movie, did it match your expectations?
Oh.
Mother on Cinema Score got an F.
Yeah.
Because people are expecting this thriller like Black Swan. Aronofsky's a great director. He's so talented.
This
then
went
you get
a direction.
this movie.
crazy.
This was a big swing, and this was unfortunately a big swing and a miss.
Yep.
Mike and Mike is presented by Progressive Insurance. Customers who switch to Progressive save an average of $500. Call or click today and find out if we could save you hundreds on your car insurance. For reviews of Mother and all the latest in the Harvey Weinstein situation, you can go to my podcast, Cinephile, on the ESPN app and iTunes. It's also available on the Mike and Mike page. Now we get to our man, Stugotz. So, of course, we love Stugotz, the Dan Le Batard show. Those guys are hysterical.
You're a big part of that show at times, right?
Well, yesterday they mocked me. They got me good. So they called me. They said, we have a question. Todd Zeal or Todd Frazier? Which one's better? Allison, one of the fabulous producers of the show, called. So I gave my answer, and they Greg Cody'd me, Mike, meaning I started to answer. They go to the heart out. I go, okay, fine. You guys got me. Very funny. Now they call back later because I said I have a thought. They had a great debate that was raging between Stugotz and Dan about could the Warriors, if they wore sandals, could they still win the NBA championship? So they called me back. I think it was actually an interesting question. So I started debating. Again, they cut me off. Now, and then I even said, as Stugotz knows, I said, I know what you guys are doing. I get the show. I know the show. I know what's going on. Right. And then eventually they had me on to talk about Harvey Weinstein, and they did it to me again. So, Stugotz, I hope you're proud of yourself. The hard network out is going to be a staple now, right?
Yes, the hard network out. Yes, that is my. And Greg Cody's going to be jealous. You know that, Dan. Like Greg Cody claims to hate when we get him on the hard network out, but now he's going to be jealous because you're kind of going into his domain here. So it's going to be interesting to see the reaction of one Greg Cody because Cody claims he doesn't like it, but Cody also likes the attention that comes with anything as long as it's on himself. And so now it's going to be interesting to see what happens here on Tuesday.
Well, that's been my question to you because I listen and I text Stu almost every time they get Cody.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder if Cody now does it on purpose because he likes the attention because, my God, there's one hard out an hour. I mean, Cody's been in this business a little while. And I can't believe you got nailed three times with this thing.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you not know at some point pick up on this? So I think Cody is sandbagging and doing it on purpose for the attention.
Mike, I promise you, we wish he was sandbagging it. We wish he was doing it on purpose. We don't want him to be that bad. We don't want him to be that sloppy. I am telling you, he's been doing the show with us for 5 years. He has no idea that thing is coming every single Tuesday he sits with us. He has no idea, Mike.
Much like the Scary Movie theme, though. It's like, don't go in there, don't go in there. Cody, just don't do it.
And
He can't help himself. He goes right in the cave. Yeah. Stu, I thought it was a great get. This Chris Foerster story, of course, is unbelievable. When I saw the story, and I mean, maybe I should be embarrassed of this, but I laughed immediately.
Yeah,
and
the former offensive line coach of the Miami Dolphins who was in a video snorting,
I mean, listen, I laughed and then immediately thought, I cannot wait to watch Stu and Dan because these guys are going to have a field day. Now, you did have quite a get here because you got the exotic dancer with whom Chris Foerster was sending the video to. So what was it about her intention? What was it that you gleaned from that interview?
Well, listen, Mike's not going to say it. I will. Cocaine, strippers, and the Dolphins embarrassing themselves. Just another week down here in Miami. I mean, that's...
I guess it shouldn't be shocking, huh?
The least shocking. And you're right. The sports radio gods just like they handed us a gift. For our show, that is a gift. And they handed one to us. Listen, we had her on the show. I thought she was very candid and very interesting and said what she had to say, and really nothing different from her original statement, which was she was doing this to try to prove a point and doing this to try to prove a point about how white players and white coaches are treated, not just in the NFL, but just in society in general. So, I mean, listen, maybe not the best messenger on social injustice, but that is her message nonetheless. And we were happy to have her on, and at the very least, it was engaging, interesting radio. So it's been quite the interesting week. I don't know if we've ever seen a story like this, and a lot of people will say, hey, how can Chris Foerster be that dumb to do that? Well, cocaine, that's how. I mean, that's right. That's what drugs will do to you, where you'll make really bad decisions. So to question why or how he could do this, I think you have your answer, and the answer was sitting right on his desk.
To make it a little more shocking, if he's making $2.5 million, that he's not using a $100 bill to snort the cocaine instead of the $20 bill, I think people would bring that up as well. To further on the stripper that you had on, she was talking about, or was she, to go the next step, did she say she had other names that she possibly would be bringing out in this?
She did. She said there, well, She didn't say that she was going to bring them out. She just said that she had other names. She wasn't threatening to really bring them out, but she did say that she had other names. The thing that I found really interesting is that she claims that she felt threatened and still feels threatened Chris Forrester, I guess he said, if you release any of this stuff, I have a team of people who take care of this. So a lot of people think she's doing this for attention, and maybe she is, but she says she is getting no enjoyment out of this, that she feels threatened, that she's having a hard time sleeping, not just her and her friends. So I don't know if those other names will come out, Mike. I think she was just saying that she has other names. I don't think she threatened to release those other names. She was trying to make a point here. And, the fact that people think that she's doing it, if there's a money grab here, she's doing it for attention, maybe that's the case. But I can tell you this, because I heard it in her voice, she absolutely feels threatened. She's absolutely worried about what's going to happen to her moving forward.
Talking with Stugotz right now on Mike and Mike, ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Adnan Verk in for Greeny alongside Golick. Stu, the baseball game, 4 hours and 37 minutes. Now, I love baseball. I appreciate when you guys have me on Baseball Canada and movies, which are my private passions. But I do not dispute the fact for a lot of people are going to go, what? 4 hours and 37 minutes? This is why the youth of America is not watching baseball. How do you fix this? I feel like we've had this conversation every single year.
Listen, here's the thing, though, Adnan, right? And I know you love baseball. We all love baseball. Mike, I'm sorry about your Cleveland Indians. But here's the thing. I love it as well. In the regular season, 4 hour and 38-minute games, they're a disaster. In the regular season, the at-bat that Brett Gardner had for the Yankees, which was a 13-pitch at-bat that felt like it took forever, that doesn't feel good in the regular season. But in the postseason, what you saw last night, 4 hours, 38 minutes, whatever it was, that's fine. And the Brett Gardner at-bat, legendary. Why? Because there are stakes attached. To me, this gets down to the most simple thing, Adnan, okay? The regular season has no stakes attached to it. Game 74 means absolutely nothing. Game 112 means absolutely nothing in the grand scheme of things. The NFL, college football, they have it down right, where the regular season actually means something, and then, of course, the postseason means everything. Baseball needs to figure out a way to make their games, their regular season games, more meaningful. Because if they're meaningful, if stakes are attached to them, I'll sit up for 4.5 hours and I'll watch, Brett Gardner go through a 13-pitch at bat. That's the problem. There is not enough emphasis on the regular season in Major League Baseball. The games simply aren't important enough. In the postseason, we're fine with anything. Those games, those 4 hour and 38-minute games, that will be a legendary game. If it happens in the regular season, no one stays up for it, no one watches it, and no one cares.
All right, so let's go. You talked about the meaningful games in football, whether college or the NFL. Let's do the NFL in an overview. If you thought in the beginning of the season the Dallas Cowboys were going to be a team that was going to be in the playoffs, even though they're 2-3 now, you figure could they right the ship a little bit? If Zeke Elliott is out for the 6 games, as it looks like he's going to be, do you knock them out of the playoffs? Do you say that they don't have a chance?
I do, in part because the Eagles are so good inside that division. I was not expecting this quickly from Carson Wentz and the Eagles. But, yeah, it's hard. Dez Bryant's been off for a couple of years now. It's not just this year. He hasn't been the same Dez Bryant in about a year and a half. And without Zeke there, I know the offensive line is still good. The defense is still pretty good. But, Mike, I just can't see. Can you? I can't see a scenario without Zeke Elliott. I cannot see a scenario in which the Dallas Cowboys make the playoffs here.
Yeah, I agree. Even though, they have other running backs, he's the big hitter there. And even though he hasn't been having a good year this year and that offense hasn't looked like what it's looked like, even with him, they were struggling. So without him, I think that's going to knock him out of this as well. I would say, and coupled with the way the Eagles are playing, still can't figure out the Redskins at this point on what they're doing. And we know the Giants are out of it.
Yeah, the Eagles obviously still have more weapons. Obviously, they upgraded their receiving core, which a year ago was so porous. And all of a sudden, they made the moves to get, Torrey Smith and Alshon Jeffrey, and Aguilar's taking a big step. Obviously, he's got great chemistry there with Zach Ertz. But how many quarterbacks would you feel like you'd take ahead of Carson Wentz right now? Right? Brady's long in the tooth, Breeze, Roethlisberger's banged up. You obviously can make the case for the likes of the Cam Newtons, maybe Deshaun Watson. But how many guys, seriously, would you take ahead of Carson Wentz right now?
Brady and Rod, I can't believe I'm still saying Brady. I cannot believe here we're still saying we take Tom Brady at the age of 40 over a guy who's in his second season in the NFL, which is just incredible because it feels like Brady's going to be doing this for another decade. So I guess I'll say Brady. I guess I'll say Rodgers. And I think that's it. I'm not going to take Drew Brees. Like, you have Carson Wentz. He gets the ball down the field. He's got great weapons, Adnan, as you just pointed out. He's got maybe the best tight end in football right now. I know a lot of people say Gronk, but Zach Ertz, I heard Mike talking about this earlier this week, might be the best tight end in football right now. So, listen, Rodgers, for me, the list is Rodgers and Brady, and I think that's about it. I don't think there's another quarterback, not even Cam Newton, maybe Matt Ryan. So maybe 3 guys I would take right now over Carson Wentz.
So you're taking Wentz out of Dak Prescott, Jameis Winston, Cam Newton, all those, Derek Carr?
100%. Well, Derek Carr, there are health issues there. I am taking Carson Wentz over every quarterback but those 3, yes. But the 3 I just named, Rodgers, Brady, and Matt Ryan. Those are the only 3 I would take ahead of Carson Wentz.
A guy forgotten about again who has thrown for, as many yards, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions, completing 76% of his passes. Alex Smith, they're forgotten. It's amazing. It is absolutely amazing. And Alex Smith, Stugotz, in my mind, is doing a great job of saying, hey, Andy, you sure you're going to want to make this move at the end of the year? Because I'm leading this team to a good season right now, possibly to the Super Bowl. To me, if he does that, there is no way the Patrick Mahomes starts next year. They'd have to stay with Alex Smith. Alex Smith is having his best year as a pro.
Mike, I've been singing the praises of Alex Smith for years on our show, and Dan has gotten all over Alex Smith for years on our show. He totally disagrees with me, although this year it appears to be a different Alex Smith. Because you have Kareem Hunt, because Tyreek Hill has turned into a really good player. He has weapons now that he didn't have in the past, so he's not just, dinking and doinking it down the field. He's a really good quarterback. I would take him over Carson Wentz, but he's a really good quarterback. And, Mike, I'm with you. Mike, where's the line here? How far does Alex Smith and the Chiefs have to go for Andy Reid to say, you know what, I'm bringing him back next year as my quarterback? Is it the Super Bowl? If they lose in the Super Bowl, is that okay? If they make it to the AFC Championship game, is that enough? Because I am completely with you. I have said a number of times on our show, if they get to the Super Bowl with Alex Smith, I dare Andy Reid to let Alex Smith walk away from that organization. And what you have in Patrick Mahomes then is maybe he sits behind Alex Smith for a couple of more seasons, much the way Aaron Rodgers did with Brett Favre, or you have an asset there in Patrick Mahomes that you could trade to another team and get some draft picks.
I was listening to the show, Stugotz, laughing in the car, your disdain for U.S. soccer, because, listen, obviously you're a proud American. You want to see things go well. But the amount of people, as you pointed out, you've been hearing this for years. Oh, just wait for the U.S. to be a soccer power. Every kid plays soccer. Kids don't watch baseball and football. They're watching EPL now. And then this happens, Trinidad and Tobago. Can you please put it into perspective? Give me one more rant for people that didn't hear it. Your take on U.S. soccer.
Yeah, soccer's dead. I am tired of hearing it. I do it just to upset Mike Ryan because he loves soccer so much. But soccer in the United States, at least on the men's side, it is dead. They have poured so much money. They have the best player they've ever had on their team, the best U.S. soccer player ever, according to everyone who follows soccer, and I do not. Mike Ryan tells me he's the best he's ever seen. I would say it's Landon Donovan because he scored the only meaningful goal in U.S. soccer history, at least the only one that I can remember. But listen, all you hear all the time is the rapid growth in youth soccer around the country. And what is it translated into? I'll tell you what, it's translated into us losing to Trinidad and Tobago on a high school field with a track around it. That's what it's translated into. People don't care enough about soccer. We care if they make it to the World Cup, and that's the only time we care because we like to wrap ourselves in the American flag. Other than that, we don't care. We'll never be good at this sport because other countries take it far more seriously than we do. They care about it in a way that we will never, ever care about soccer. Their kids care about it. They want to play it. They grow up striving to be soccer players. We grow up, I don't know what, my kids grow up just to keep their face in a phone and use Snapchat and Instagram. And so that's the deal. Listen, the U.S., at least on the men's side, is never, and I mean never, going to be good at soccer. Ever. It's dead.
Do you think the main reason is while a ton of kids play it, that when they get older that they gravitate to the footballs, the basketball, the baseballs, and that's not going to change?
Yeah, I think eventually, they get bored with the sport, much the way kids get bored with baseball. And then as they get older, yes, they want to play different sports. They want to go to basketball. They want to go to lacrosse. They want to go to football. They want to go to other sports like that. And And listen, in other countries, that's just not the deal. Like, kids grow up, they want to play soccer, they want to become a professional soccer player. Not here in the United States. And yes, I think that definitely happens, Mike. As they get older, they want to challenge themselves. And really, to be quite honest with you, because I've had soccer players tell me that they're bored playing their sport. I've had baseball players tell me they're bored watching and play. Mike Lowell told me once that baseball is boring. He's bored by it. And I've had soccer players tell me the same thing. And yes, I think once kids get older, their attention shifts to sports that they're more entertained by, that they're seeing on television, basketball, football, stuff like that, and lacrosse. Lacrosse is a big sport here as well. So.
Yeah, I know. When I came here to ESPN, my boys played baseball, and then they picked up a lacrosse stick and never picked up a baseball bat again. They loved it.
Right.
Well, they were big kids, and they said, "Wait a minute, I'm allowed to hit people with this stick and our bodies, and it's not a football
can't
field?"
hit anyone with a bat.
Yeah.
Yep, I could see Junior. He can't hit anyone with that bat, but he could certainly hit someone with a lacrosse stick, and he loved that. I'm certain he loved that.
All right, well, Stugotz, one beef stew for you with the start of the NBA next week. Do you have more beef with Isaiah Thomas calling out Danny Ainge or Kyrie Irving calling out Cleveland?
I want to be delicate. It's Isaiah Thomas. I want to be delicate here because Isaiah Thomas, he is clearly wounded. He is clearly hurt. He did play through the passing of his sister, played in the playoffs after his sister's death last year, and Boston fell in love with that guy. But you know what? If Isaiah Thomas is your best player, you're not going to win an NBA championship. If Kyrie Irving's your best player, along with Gordon Hayward, you got a pretty good shot, at least a better shot, of winning an NBA championship. Listen, he's 29 years old. I know, the city meant a lot to him, and he meant a lot to that city. But I promise you, players on that team are happy that they have Kyrie Irving. I promise you, most of the fans are happy that they have Kyrie Irving, even at the expense of Isaiah Thomas. Brad Stevens is happy that he has Kyrie Irving as well. Mike, you are a professional athlete. This is just part of the business. I understand he's upset at Danny Ainge, but this is a guy who's going to be 29 years old. He's on a bad hip. He might need surgery. I mean, he's on a bum hip right now. He's on a one-year deal, and Danny Ainge was not going to re-sign him to a max contract, was not going to make him the centerpiece of this team. It's a business, Mike, and I think you would agree with me that this stuff happens. It's a business. It's not like he landed in Brooklyn, by the way. He's playing with the greatest player in the world. He's playing alongside LeBron James, and he probably has a better chance this year of winning a championship than he would have had he stayed with the Boston Celtics and been the number one guy on that team. So, Mike, do you agree with that? It's a business. This is the stuff that happens in business. Danny Ainge went out and made his team better. He made his team younger. He gave his team a better chance to win an NBA championship, and Isaiah Thomas just needs to get over it.
I agree 1,000%. It is business, and that's a business where you see trades, just like in baseball. So, yeah, it is a business. He does need to move on from that. And I'm going to imagine he'll soften over time. It's the immediacy of it. Because I agree with you. To ask anybody, you want Kyrie or you want Isaiah Thomas? If you don't say Kyrie, I question your basketball IQ, even though Isaiah Thomas had a monster year. And to your point as well, Isaiah Thomas is going to be in the NBA Finals this year. So he's going to get a chance to win a championship. But I applaud Boston and Danny Ainge for making the moves they're making to be good now. More importantly, to be good when LeBron is done playing.
Right. You stockpile as much as you can, then you make a move. Last one for you, Stu, since it's Friday the 13th. What's the scariest movie you've ever seen?
Oh, any of the end of the season Jet highlight packages? Any of those? Any of those?
I knew you would bring
any
it.
of those.
Adnan,
how do we do this? Like, is Seven considered a scary movie? Seven is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I think Seven is
I would say Seven. Yeah, I would say Seven. It used to be Poltergeist. But then I watched it. I watched it like. Well, I watched it like 3 weeks ago, and it doesn't hold up. I was like, I was scared of that thing when I was a kid.
Poltergeist?
I was laughing at Poltergeist.
Poltergeist is the first one we've had for the first vote for Poltergeist. I like that story.
I'll tell you what holds up. Put on Exorcist. That'll hold up.
Terrifying.
Yeah, it does. I watched that recently as well. And Mike, you're acting like you bought those cookies for the $50,000. You bought the cookies because you like cookies, Mike.
I've been eating a lot of them. Not going to lie.
Yes.
Taste testing. The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio. And, of course, the podcast is fabulous, always a must-listen. And Weekend Observations, of course, with Mike Jr. as well. Thanks so much, Stu.
Thanks, Stu.
You got it all in. Thank you, Adnan.
Always, man. We got to plug the brand here.
Computer, execute 12.4p operation.
Optimizing algorithm. Running encryption packet alpha. Night. Oh, I don't feel so good.
What is it, computer?
Is it hot in here? It feels hot in here. I feel a little clammy. I should lie down or something.
A computer with a virus? Surprising. What's not surprising? how much you could save by switching to Geico.
Those oysters Rockefeller were a mistake.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Adnan Verk in for Greeny today. We are Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. Thanks for all those tweets about scariest movies.
Yes.
Bonnie Bernstein tweeted me, Exorcist has to be. So Bonnie's with
right
me on
there.
that.
Absolutely right
One
there.
that I can't believe I missed is Misery is a terrifying
Let me tell you what. We talked about the hobbling. When James Caan gets hobbled, it's one of the most gruesome things I've seen.
The preamble to it.
I'd never seen that before. I didn't know it was coming. And then she sledgehammers. I'm like, are you kidding me? That just happened?
Oh, you just recoil in horror.
Yeah, you really do.
1990, Kathy Bates won Best Actress. That's how.
And deserved it. She
won that
Oscar. She scared the living daylights out of me.
Also, haven't mentioned any Hitchcock movies. Some of those, The Birds doesn't hold up. Psycho obviously was scary for its time.
Yeah.
Jaws,
is it horror or suspense? I mean, you kind of get an overlapping of the two, more suspenseful than a thriller, than a horror movie. I don't think I would classify that as a horror movie, just like I wouldn't classify Die Hard as a Christmas movie.
Yeah, right. We're going to inflate that debate. How many more times can we have that debate on Mike?
Up until November 17th.
Mystery Oreos is also a hot topic today. Yep. Mike and his wife Chris bought a box.
I have two things. Two quick things before we do 5-point sets. One before the cookies. When we did the Sports Center and we were on the Cubs winning the series and moving on, I am not a fan of the ski goggles during the celebration.
Right, just enjoy it. If you get a little sting,
go in there because now you're preparing to celebrate. Wait a minute, don't celebrate yet. Let's put the goggles on.
Yeah.
Now let's celebrate. Just go in and celebrate, man. Everybody's putting these. It used to be the little swim goggles first. Right. Now it's the big, skiing goggles.
Feels a little contrived.
Just go celebrate. It stings a little bit. You get over it.
It's like sliding in mud and go, let me change, put on some nasty clothes first. I don't mind getting it. No, just go. Do it.
Just go do it. So I'm a little bummed at that. And we think we have the winner.
Okay,
we think we have the winner. Again, the wife and I were shopping yesterday.
Yeah.
And at ND Mom, as she is so well known on the show. And we were down the cookie aisle, stunner for the Golics. And she saw a bag of Oreos that said mystery flavor. And then you go on to read, if you guess the mystery flavor and send it in, you can win $50,000. So she said, here, let's buy this, take it into work, and let everybody try it.
I like that. It's an altruistic notion here. Let's help others eat cookies.
Absolutely right. So it's a win-win. You can win $50,000, we can split. And if we don't win $50,000, we got to eat cookies.
Awesome.
Okay?
Yeah.
So we've had some guesses like creamsicle, orange sherbet, Fruit Loops, Fruity Pebbles, Trix. But I'm not saying where I think we're going to go, but it is an awesome guest. And I got to give Bickler a lot of credit for this.
Travis Bickle over here.
He did a little bit of research on it as we were taste testing, and we think we have it. And I don't think anybody else has the flavor that we have right now. Okay? I actually think we're going to win the $50,000.
You're serious right now.
I am. I am
with
dead
the glee in your eyes.
Serious, and I'm going to have to shake Bickler's hand for it because he's done we're doing a national radio and TV show. Yeah. We need all kinds of information, and he has been researching Oreo brands all morning long to where we think we have the flavor of this thing down. And I'm not saying it. I don't want to share this with anybody.
Listen, I like the fact that, you're a grown man. You had a successful business. You've done a lot of great things. You're in the Broadcasting Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
3 wonderful kids. But what really excites you is the thought of making money off of a cookie flavor.
Yeah.
That's what's getting you fired up on Friday the 13th.
And the downside for me is I've eaten way too many of these cookies now. So
nobody's judging, Mike.
It's just you're judging. You judge with your eyes.
I'm judging my eyes.
You're judging with your eyes. But I've lost the ability to tell what taste it is because I have so much of this artificial flavor in me.
For a guy who's leaned out, when you go hard.
I know. I got a big workout today, though, so all good. All good.
And it is for a better cause.
Absolutely for a better cause. So we have the winning flavor. So everybody else, don't even put one in.
Travis,
we got it.
Travis Bickle, unbelievable.
Right now on Mike and Mike. Let's go. It's time for the 5-point stance.
5-point stance is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. If Tom Brady beats the Jets on Sunday, he will pass Brett Favre and Peyton Manning at 186, the most regular season wins by a starting quarterback all time. New England is listed as a 9.5-point favorite at the Westgate Las Vegas Superbook. Now, not just to mock Greeny and Stugotz, all the Jets fans, I think the Patriots easily win this game.
I think they easily win this game. We've been throwing this around, coming off what Aaron Rodgers did against the Cowboys. Tom Brady, the GOAT, greatest of all time, with what he's accomplished.
Yep.
Is Aaron Rodgers
second?
No. Yeah. Is he the BOAT? Is he the best of all time?
Yeah, see, that's
if you had a game, it comes down to this. You ask this question to anybody.
Yeah.
If you had a game to play and you needed a quarterback to play that game, who would you want?
Well, then I was about to say, if I think of Joe Cool, I think of Joe Montana. Like, 4 Super Bowls, never lost. Like, I'm thinking of under pressure, 2-minute drive. But yeah, I'd probably go with Brady or Montana.
Okay.
Rodgers, but I hear you on Rodgers. 2-minute drill.
You know, it's like Brady does everything in the pocket great, doesn't really move around great. Rodgers, better athlete, will move around, throw from the run a little bit more, is accurate as heck. Listen,
cold weather, all
Tom
that
Brady's
stuff.
going to go down as the greatest quarterback of all time.
Yeah.
Without question. But it's interesting with how good Aaron Rodgers is, because a lot of people say he's only got one ring.
Yeah.
And it's true. And he has failed at times in the playoffs. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
Where Brady has won.
Did you come up with the BOAT, though? That's a pretty good acronym.
Actually, Greeny did.
That's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
If Eli Manning loses to the Broncos on Sunday, it will mark the second 0-6 start in his career. According to the Elias Sports Bureau, Mike, no Pro Football Hall of Fame quarterback has ever lost his first 6 starts of a season twice. If you're a Giants fan, you're aghast at just how bad this season has gone. There was high expectations for this team, obviously with Eli and Odell Beckham and that defense and playmakers and Spagnuolo, and you go, no, it's all a mess. And for Eli to go to 0-6 potentially, the rest of the way, this feels like at best a 5-win team anyways.
Our FPI, Football Power Index, which I call the NPI, the Nerd Power Index, and I'll be picking against them a little later in the show, they give the Broncos a 72% chance of winning. I'd go even higher than that. It is unreal what's going on there, which is really going to beg the question, what do you do if you're the Giants? If they have a high pick and there are multiple quarterbacks with high grades, again, you got to have that high grade.
Right.
What do? Do you draft one and keep Eli for another year or two?
Yes.
Do you draft one and say we're moving on and try and trade Eli if someone would have him and just end the Eli Manning era? Going to be real interesting because this team ain't winning much this year.
No, I agree with that. I think you got to move on from Eli. Not to blame him as a scapegoat, but like you said, if you got to rebuild and find your next franchise quarterback. Andy Reid can become the 6th coach in the Super Bowl era to have 3 6-0 starts. Reid started 7-0 with the 2004 Eagles and started 9-0 with the 2013 Chiefs. And they made the point last night, Jim Nantz and Tony Romo. So the two best teams are the Chiefs coached by Andy Reid and the Eagles. Of course, Doug Peterson is an Andy Reid disciple. He's like Andy Reid 2.0. Credit to him.
Listen, I was still amazed how in Philadelphia, I played for Buddy Ryan. We never won a game. A game in the playoffs when I was with him.
Right.
Andy Reid went to 5 NFC title games in a Super Bowl, and they couldn't get him out of town fast enough. It blows my mind. Andy Reid is a great coach. He's a great coach. To me, the interesting thing here is if Alex Smith leads them to the promised land, what happens then? With the quarterback they traded up, 17 spots for? Mm-hmm. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
In Patrick Mahomes? Or is Alex Smith your quarterback again next year?
Yeah, it feels like Super Bowl is which is crazy to think about the margin of error.
Crazy.
If you win the Super Bowl, we'll give you one more year. Otherwise, you're out.
Crazy. That's crazy.
The Browns are 0-5 this season. They're going to start Kevin Hogan on Sunday. He'll become their 28th different starting quarterback since returning to the NFL in 1999, most in the league over that span. I know for Clevelanders as yourself, it's so tough to see this.
If you want to sit DeShone Kizer for a bit, 3 touchdowns, 9 interceptions, I think 50% are just under completion percentage. I get it if you want to have him take a breather, but at some point you got to get him back on the field. And you have to decide if he's going to be the guy you're going to go forward with because they're going to have an awful record and there's going to be quarterbacks available again. Right. So you got to know. If he doesn't play the rest of the year, then maybe you are saying we do know and he's not our guy. But if you're not sure, you got to get him back on the field at some point and decide, is he going to be the quarterback going further for you because you're going to be in a position because of your record to get another quarterback.
Always trying to rebuild that Browns team. And lastly, the 5-point stance here. The Browns own the 12th overall pick in this year's draft, but traded to Houston, who selected Deshaun Watson. He's been brilliant. 14 touchdowns this season, the most combined passing and rushing touchdowns by any rookie in his first 5 career games since the 1970 merger. We are long past now, Mike, this theory of draft a quarterback, sit for a year. It's draft a quarterback, and whether it's him or it's Trubisky in Chicago, if you look good, you're getting in there, and we'll see what we got.
Love him. I loved him coming out of college. He would have been my first quarterback selected, not for the fact that he could play right away out of all the guys taken because he had the most experience, but you're looking at ceiling as well, and that's the reason Pace, the GM in Chicago, took Trubisky. And I get it, and it's still too early to tell. He thinks Trubisky's going to have a higher ceiling because you don't draft, I'll continue to say, you don't draft a quarterback for his rookie year. You draft him for a decade. And Trubisky had a nice start, even though they lost. I thought he looked really good.
Right.
So we'll see where we go. But Deshaun Watson he's shown you the ability in college in the big game, and he's translated that right into the pros, doing a nice job.
I was looking back to I figured what was the knock against him. There was some issue about interceptions.
And
right?
accuracy
was the
17
problem.
interceptions, some accuracy issues.
Right.
But on the run, mentally, he's doing good. Good play calling to get him on the move as well. I like what he's doing so far.
And, of course, Houston's got that great defense.
Good weapons, yeah, too.
That is the 5-point stance. Coming up next, a social media warrior you wouldn't expect has been revealed. Details are next. I'm Adnan Burkin for Greeny alongside Golick. We are Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. That is Mike Golick. I'm Adnan Burkin for Greeny. We're Mike and Mike on ESPN Radio and ESPN2. As always, we are presented by Progressive Insurance. All of our phone guests on the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. So we'll get back to the major issues at hand, which is the fact the NLCS is now settled. The Nationals losing to the Cubs, so now we'll have the Cubs and Dodgers. And, of course, in the ALCS, the Yankees will be taking on the Astros. NFL conversation, the Eagles over the Panthers. We'll do more of that about 10 minutes from now. But in terms of the NFL, Mike, and this is obviously a broader conversation beyond football, but there's something to be said for social media and the way that trolls will come at people and they'll demean you. And I think you're great with handling it. People will throw stuff at you. You'll either mock them once in a while, maybe you block them, but you got to have a sense of humor about it, right? You don't ever take it too personally. Sometimes somebody will say, you said this. You go, no, I didn't say that, but whatever, moving on. This is a new tactic that Roger Goodell, the commissioner of the NFL, is taking.
Well, I don't know if he took it. You think he actually...
He ordered the code red and told this person, can you do this for me?
The bottom line here is there was a @4argument was the handle that was basically a Twitter handle and a feed that would defend Roger Goodell. You'd seen, I think there were 14 tweets in all that, and if you ever looked at Roger Goodell's timeline, I mean, you want to see the viciousness of Twitter at its best. I mean, it's ridiculous what some people, have the Twitter muscles to type and hit send for. It just blows my mind.
Keyboard gangsters, right?
It's just amazing. But this Twitter handle @4argument would defend Roger Goodell. And it was found out that it was Roger Goodell's wife, Jane Skinner Goodell, who was tweeting and defending her husband, Roger Goodell. So all that's going to come of this now, I don't know where you stand. I personally have zero problem with it. Zero problem with it. Listen, if she had her own Twitter account and you knew who it was and she was defending Roger Goodell, she'd be getting crushed.
Yes.
She would be getting crushed doing that.
Yeah.
So she did it anonymously. I say this a lot because I saw it in my own house between me and my boys when they were at Notre Dame, what some people would tweet. My wife, the boys actually had to tell her, Ma, I'm not even saying with a fake account, just at ND Mom going out and blasting people or saying things about her boys or her husband.
Right.
They had to say, Ma, just don't do it. Just take a deep breath, don't hit send, as Herm Edwards would say. And they would talk her down sometime because, it's a loved one. It's her kids. It's her husband that she wanted to defend. And this is Roger Goodell's wife that she wants to defend. So, because then people say, well, what's different with that and like a Kevin Durant using a burner phone? And I said, well, he's defending himself. Right. Come at me. I don't care if you come at me. You come at my kids. You come at my wife. You come at my family. You know what? I'm going to come at you a little bit.
Yeah.
And so I think that's what Roger's wife, Jane, was doing, saying, this is a guy I love. This is a guy I'm married to. You're coming after him. And she was in the media, so she knows her way around it. And she wasn't mean to people. She wasn't personal to anybody. She was defending it. So that separates. If she came out and was just personally ripping people and was mean tweeting and all that, I'd have a different take. But she was defending her husband, basically saying when they were saying Roger was doing something wrong, he's working on this, you don't know the backstory, this or that, whatever. Yeah. But it wasn't mean. So I really don't have a problem with it. I have more of a problem if you're out there doing burners, protecting yourself. I mean, come on. who cares? Well, yeah,
Right.
Kevin Durant, who cares what they're saying to you?
Right.
You know
You
what?
shouldn't have rabbit ears. You shouldn't be so
You've
sensitive.
won, okay? I mean,
Yeah.
you've won. I don't care if somebody comes after me, but comes after someone in my family that I love. Man, you got a problem then, to the point where my wife said, I really wish I thought about doing a fake account. I could have went after some of these people a little bit. But I personally, I don't know your thought, I don't really have a problem with it.
The best point you make is that if she had tweeted under her own label, she'd be crushed for it. People would
Crushed
say,
for
"Why? Who cares what Roger Goodell's wife thinks? We don't care." There'd be a lot of just sexist stuff
Yep.
that would be thrown in her direction. So
Yep.
you're absolutely right about that. And I can understand her frustration and wanting to do it. I guess sometimes people say this. They go, Jay Billis once said this to Greeny, who then told me this: don't punch down. You know what I mean? Like, you're someone of stature and substance. Don't allow them the pulpit with which to speak. Don't give them the attention. But I do recognize it's tough to do sometimes when you're hearing it on all sides. And like you said, Goodell probably hears it as much as anybody. And I'm not the biggest fan of the commissioner either, but I get the fact that as his wife, you go, hey, enough once in a while, okay?
Yeah.
He's not the villain you guys portray him out to be.
And probably at the end of the day, and she even said it was a silly thing to do. I shouldn't have done it. But you get to the point where it's a little much.
Yeah.
So you say, okay, I'll do it in a way that nobody knows it's me and I can get what I want to say out there. So
Yeah.
I really don't have a big problem with it. But and like I said, my wife was actually bummed. She's like, I wish I'd have thought of that. She goes, I'd have been going after people left and right under my fake name.
There's still time. She can get it done. I'm sure Chris can get it done. Coming up next, Eduardo Perez, Golic's pick against the Nerds, and more in the final hour. I'm Adnan Burke with Golic. We're Mike and Mike having a blast on ESPN Radio.